I'm kind of in a bad mood. I thought I was gonna do a skit for this video, but I'm just not feeling it. My heart's not in it because I'm annoyed. Okay, so I'm cosplaying Lily for a convention that I'm going to this weekend from Pokemon, and I thought it would be really cute to, like, you know, if I have like an interaction with somebody, I would give them like a sticker or like a pin or something like that. But it's like Cosmog, right? And I made like this specific picture of like a Cosmog cupcake, or how I would imagine a cupcake themed by Cosmog would look like. I made it specifically for this, and it's not turning out right. They're just like uneven, and like even the stickers, like I have a really cheap like photo sticker printer kind of thing, and it's not coming out the way that I want it to. Like the colors are off. It's bad, and I'm in a bad mood because I put a few dollars down to do it, and it's not working out. So maybe recording this video off script will make me feel better. Hi, my name is Kodawat, and why do Pokemon trainer designs look like dog dookie now? Hey, how you doing? Welcome back to the series where I talk about whatever's on my mind today. Because I have a big mouth, I like to yap about things with no particular end goal other than to start discussion. And in today's Let's Rant session, I wanted to divulge into a small petty opinion of mine on Pokemon recently. I feel like with the many gripes I've had with Pokemon over the years, this one is more minuscule, and I don't feel like too many people kind of talk about it because, again, it's petty. It matters to some people. It doesn't matter to others, but it matters to me, so I'm gonna talk about it. I want to talk about when Pokemon lost its swag, when Pokemon started becoming forgettable with its main trainer designs. Y'all know what I'm talking about, when they announce a new game and they announce what the starters are going to look like, and then they also end up designing a set of 2 trainers that you can choose from, typically a male or a female character. That's the designs I want to talk about today. This was just kind of a random thing that's been on my mind because I had been recently reflecting on my experience playing Pokemon Violet and the Scarlet and Violet era in general, and why I particularly don't think it's that impressive. I don't think it's very interesting, and that's just how I feel personally. Do I think it's a terrible, bad game? All the characters are bad? No. But do I think it's amazing and like deserves all these accolades and like whatever people said about Scarlet and Violet during the time? No, not really. I think it's kind of mid, not gonna lie. But one of the points that came up was the Pokemon trainer designs that had turned me off when it first got announced, and I was just kind of like, why are we back in school? I didn't play Pokemon growing up to be back in school, but that's just me though. And it got me thinking. It started jogging my mind about how a lot of the designs that have been coming out recently for trainers in Pokemon have been kind of the same. You know, they haven't, I feel like it's not been very eye-catching. It's been kind of boring. So I wanted to discuss that a little bit in this video. One disclaimer, if you like the current direction that the Pokemon trainer designs are going, and you're like, oh my god, Kodawat, you're complaining about nothing, and like, this is just so petty, even though I said it was petty in the beginning and you clicked on this video, I don't know why you would do that, but oh my gosh, Kodawat, it's not that big a deal, and I like them, and yada yada, rada, girl, that's cool. I love that for you, but I don't, and this is my rant, and this is my world and my law, so on this video. But and you clicked on it. Why would you click on it if you just wanted to hear yourself talk to a mirror? What are we doing? But with that being said, if you like all of that, that's cool, but this is my rant. With that being said, let's start the rant. Now, this was just me personally, but I only just now started to notice kind of the shift in designs with the Pokemon trainers in Scarlet and Violet, because obviously they're wearing a uniform and they're back in school or whatever. Again, I never played Pokemon to be back in school. I even remember, I think in like Diamond Pearl, when you know, you're going through that little trainer school segment in order to get some type of TM to move on from Jubilife City. I didn't want to do all that. I was like, girl, I'm 10. I'm grown. I don't need school. What do y'all see? That's what y'all in here for? I'm not like y'all. I'm different. I'm off on my own journey. Like, I just never played Pokemon to be back in school. So that was the one thing that kind of did turn me off about, like, you know, Scarlet and Violet was like, why are we in school? What kid plays Pokemon to be back in school? Maybe y'all do, but me personally, I know I didn't. So that was kind of uninteresting to me. But the first thing that I noticed during that time was, like, you know, being in uniform and, you know, maybe being like slight differences between the male and the female characters to maybe give that distinction. But overall, the uniform was the same. They all had the same look, and I thought it was kind of like boring, I'm not gonna lie. But this hasn't been like the first time that Pokemon has kind of shifted into this direction of giving a uniform look for their characters, right? This started kind of way back in like Let's Go Pikachu, like when they released, like, I think it was like a remake of like the Red and Blue games. I believe that's what it was. That's when they kind of started to make that shift, but maybe I didn't notice it because I thought those designs looked pretty Pokemon, right? I mean, it's kind of uniform again, like kind of how like recent designs have been, like let's say for like instance like ZA, it is uniform, but it still gave kind of like Pokemon-esque, like there was like a hint of like being a little bit larger than life. Because you know what 10-year-old do you know is wearing this outside? Like let's be honest, let's be real, what 10-year-old do you think is wearing that drip outside? Not many. Okay, and I feel like that's kind of one of the appeals of even seeing the Pokemon trainer designs in the first place, was the fact that this is supposed to represent a larger than life figure, right? Whoever you're about to play as in this game is supposed to they're supposed to be better. They're supposed to look better, okay? And I feel like that's kind of like the whole appeal, is like seeing this 10-year-old and being like, oh my gosh, like I want drip like that. I want swag like that. Like I want to be that, like to look kind of cool and like appealing to children, right? I feel like that's what all the older designs do. I mean, you have Dawn like sporting her like little duffel bag and whatnot else, or her little boots and kicking it or whatever. And you got Lucas, you know, he's got his little scarf and he looks kind of cool with his slacks and everything, like put together with the hat and everything. Like, I don't know, there was just something about those designs.
I mean, I don't know, it's something about that song that just make you want to get up and bust a motherfucking move.
You know, like I really thought as a 10-year-old, like I see myself in them, but they're like a cooler version of me that I want to, you know, like emulate. And like, you know, I feel like that's kind of the appeal. Like being a Pokemon trainer is kind of a larger than life thing. And I feel like what communicates that is those designs. And I liked how they gave them kind of like little accessories and whatnot. It was like just little touches like of like personality and everything like that. And I honestly, I didn't think that anything looked bad about like the Let's Go Pikachu ones, because it still gave Pokemon-esque, even if they were trying to move into a more like uniform kind of like not so much like playing into, I guess, like the gender aspect, if you get what I'm trying to say. Like they're not playing so much into the fact of like, this is clearly a girl and this is clearly a boy. Because, you know, I feel like you know, people wear different things, right? Like, you know, I don't think it has to like be designated, right? But I felt like they gave a little bit of a little bit more effort, a little bit more detail into their designs to make them look cool. And I felt that way about Let's Go Pikachu, as they still gave Pokemon-esque even if they were supposed to be uniform. And there was just something about that I did not get the vibe in with Scarlet and Violet. They look pretty boring and forgettable to me. And that's, again, one of the aspects I didn't like about them putting them back in school, because, again, what... Personal opinion, okay? Personal opinion. I have to say that for the sake of this video, but I know I'm right, okay? What kid is playing Pokemon and wants to wear like, you know, just boring, regular uniform clothes? And a lot of the response to this at the time was the fact that, you know, it's based on the region of Spain, right? This whole entire region is based on Spain. And, you know, putting them back in school, they wanted to be more in line with, I guess, like Spain's uniforms and stuff like that in school. But I'm not gonna lie to you, even Spain, when I was kind of, I did like a little bit of looking, a little bit of digging. I'm not saying I did a whole research paper, okay, I didn't. But even when looking a little bit into kind of like Spain's fashion and stuff like that, I was like, y'all really couldn't come up with anything else that wasn't maybe school related. Or even if it was school related, y'all couldn't give them like a blazer, like a cool little blazer, like, and stuff like that. Like, it would have, I feel like it would have hit. Like, it's missing that Pokemon-esque factor. It's missing that wow factor. And I felt like the Scarlet and Violet designs were just kind of like boring and blasé and whatnot else. And at first I thought that this might be, you know, like just a kind of like a temporary thing and stuff like that, of maybe the Pokemon designs maybe not, you know, looking like all the way out there and kind of boring and whatnot else. But it kind of followed suit. You know, you got ZA, which, granted, I'm gonna say looks 10 times better than whatever the frick was going on in Scarlet and Violet. Okay, they just look forgettable. It would have been nice if they gave them like different touches on their uniform and whatnot else. If the uniform, if it has different touches, then it's not very. It's Pokemon. It's Pokemon. Like, you know, like, are you kidding me? Like, it's Pokemon. Like, who's saying you gotta break? Like, you can't break rules. You're Pokemon. All right. You can break a few rules, okay? Black and White was supposed to be based off New York, okay? All right, you broke a little bit of rules there. I'm just saying. Who's saying you gotta like play into that rule? You're Pokemon. It's your world. It's your universe, right? You can add a little bit. You don't gotta be like afraid. Stop being afraid. Again, it's supposed to be based off the region or inspired by said region, right? Inspiration. It doesn't mean you gotta take over the whole damn thing. Like, what the heck? So, I feel like that pattern kind of continued into like ZA, where it's better, but they're just missing a little bit of the swag. I don't know. Maybe that's just my personal opinion. I feel like they still missing the drip. I feel like they still missing the swag. Hi, post-editing Kodawat. I just wanted to fit this in here real quick, but what about this outfit is giving French other than the fedora? Okay, I looked it up. The fedora is French, but like the rest of the outfit, the bomber and Letterman jacket, maybe I'll give you the flare pants, but like, what about this outfit otherwise is giving Francois? Y'all let me know though. That's just me. I feel like they're not putting in as much effort to make it seem, I guess, like a little bit cooler. I don't think that they're putting in so much effort to make it seem like larger than life, or like no normal 10-year-old's gonna wear this. I feel like we're playing it very safe, and we're putting ourselves kind of into like a little bit of a box, right? And I feel like the pattern is now continued with like wind and waves, right? I feel like there's more interesting hiking gear out there, right? I mean, like you've had regions before where you do kind of like hiking gear and whatnot else, and they look cooler than. Can we do something else? Can we swag it up? Like, I feel like we're forgetting our roots. I feel like we're forgetting where we came from. We're larger than life 10-year-olds in this game, bro. We supposed to be out there. Not. They just don't look cool to me. That's just me though. They don't look cool to me. Here's another point I want to tackle when I was originally ideating on making this video and whatnot else, because I thought it was a little bit misguided and not being very like open-minded, if you get what I mean. And I feel like one of the points that I had written down a while ago, and I had to dissect that a little bit, was why do Pokemon trainers kind of like have no distinction anymore? Why does why does the female character look the same as the male character? Like, is there no, like, can't we have a little bit of different swag? Can we have like a whatever? And I originally thought that point was like, I thought that was fair, because again, I do think the outfits themselves are kind of like a little bit boring, a little bit blasé. I mean, I gave the examples of like, Let's Go Pikachu being pretty cool and stuff like that. Like, again, still being Pokemon-esque. And I do like Arceus's. I feel like it's kind of, again, based off that region, being in the past and whatnot else. And I feel like it's fitting, still has a little bit of swag, some more accessories. But when I came to the point about the Scarlet and Violet and ZA characters, I kept focusing on this point of like, there's no distinction. Like, why don't they look like different anymore? Why are there no, like, there's no accessories to like tell them apart? And the more I started to think about this, I was just like, no, I feel like this point is a little bit misguided. And the reason I feel like that is because I think the whole reason Pokemon in general, and I had to rethink this obviously, but I was like, I think Pokemon in general is moving into the direction of making their characters look uniform and whatnot else, to be inclusive of more demographics and whatnot else. So I had to kind of sit with that point, and I was like, wait, I don't want to just rush and make this video and like say something I'm a regret now or whatever, right? So I was like, no. I feel like my issue with these designs is like bigger than, them looking distinct or whatever. And I was like, first of all, why do they need to look distinct in the first place, right? Why do they need to have that distinction between this is clearly a girl character and this is clearly a male character? Because at first I was like, oh, it's not that, but then I was like, no, it's that. I feel like it's that, and I feel like I need to unpack that a little bit. So I feel like Pokemon has been trying to widen their demographic and not so much make the clothes, have like a distinct gender and stuff like that, or be to allude to the fact that this is clearly what a girl would wear and this is clearly what a boy would wear, right? Because we all know that Pokemon Pokemon's a wide demographic, okay? You have so many different people that love these games and stuff like that, whether they are male, female, maybe they're both, maybe they're non-binary, like, you know, like, maybe they don't like, you know, what's the word? I'm so sorry. I'm like, whatchamacallit? What's the word? Maybe they don't feel like they match up with any of these like distinct things that these clothes are supposed to allude to, right? Because let's be honest, okay? Nate's drip from Pokemon Black. Hey, he look kind of cool. Who's to say a girl can't rock that fit? You know, who's to say that, like, you know, a guy can't rock May's fit or whatever? Like, why do these clothes have to be so, like, why does it matter? Why does it matter? So I get the point. Hopefully y'all get what I'm trying to say, but the reason I rethought this point and I wanted to kind of like mention and like revamp how I approach this and stuff like that was because, you know, I feel like Pokemon is moving into a good direction of trying to be inclusive of everybody and their taste and whatnot else, and not so much allude to, like, you know, clothes being a part of a certain demographic and whatnot else, and, you know, remain unisex. And I don't think that's a bad thing. And I had to, again, like, sit with myself in that, and I was like, so then I thought to myself, I was like, okay, so Pokemon's trying to be more inclusive of everybody and try to include more unisex clothing and whatnot else, and not so much play into kind of like what distinct genders and whatnot else, and what it means, like, to wear certain things and stuff like that. And they've been coming up with maybe like uniforms or like different designs that can be like altered slightly to maybe give those differences for general audiences, okay? But they still want to kind of keep it neutral, right? Still going to kind of keep it neutral. So I thought to myself, I was like, so am I just kind of like, am I losing my mind then? So why do I still feel like, you know, these designs are kind of like lackluster and not putting in very much effort and whatnot else? And, you know, I thought to myself, I was like, I don't think it's a bad thing that they're going the direction of trying to remain neutral with, you know, character designs and whatnot else to appeal to a wider demographic of people rather than just general audiences, right? Here's what I feel like I've worked it into. I don't think that's a bad thing, but we're doing it like it's supposed to be like a trade-off, right? We're doing it as like there's no intersection between remaining unisex and being like fashionable and appealing and still having that Pokemon-esque feel, and, you know, being like, you know, like larger than life. Like, again, like I've said, like video game characters in general are larger than life figures. We're supposed to see ourselves in them, but they're still supposed to look completely different and, like, you know, I don't want to say not human, but like not like your average Joe Schmo walking across the street, right? Why are we making this a trade-off? Can't we have unisex clothing that also looks fashionable and cool? I mean, there's streetwear. Have we forgotten about streetwear? Have we forgotten about, like, I feel like there's so much fashion out there. I don't think there needs to be this trade-off of, like, you know, inclusivity and diversity and, you know, extending beyond like gender norms and stuff like that. It doesn't have to be this trade-off of, like, you know, remaining like blasé and boring, like to be diverse and stuff like that. You know, it can still be Pokemon-esque. It can still be included in like the image of Pokemon or whatever, and be larger than life and cool looking, and, like, you know, it can still fit the branding, if you get what I'm trying to say. You know, you don't have to make that trade-off of, you know, clothes being boring and stuff like that to appeal to a wide demographic of people. You know, that's what I'm trying to say. And I feel like it's kind of similar to how I feel about, like, when brands try to, you know, appeal to Black people, right? And stuff like that, you know, like the whole Black Power, you know, like shirts and stuff like that you see in like Target and like other things during like Black History Month or like Juneteenth or whatever. Like, it's very like in your face, like, you know, it's very like in your face. Like, every Black girl, I feel like, has been through I don't want to say the trauma, but the experience of their mom holding up a shirt that says Black Girl Magic on it, and you're just like, ooh, babe, get that out my face. Get that out my face right now. Or, like, you know, having a random silhouette of a Black woman on, like, you know, a t-shirt or something like that, because that's what they think. That's like what these like big corporations think it is what it means to be like a black girl or a black woman, like strong and tough. And it's just like, you know, we wear normal clothes, right? Like you can make it like black inspired, but it doesn't have to be like this whole like, you know, I don't know. It feels like a facade. It feels like a facade, if you get what I'm trying to say. And it's no diss to people who like those kinds of things and stuff like that, or like in your face and stuff like that. Like I say, for example, with the Juneteenth and the Black History and the, you know, Black Power merch and whatnot else, Hotep shit. Like, I don't say that to say it's wrong and whatnot else, but you definitely can see it's giving. You guys have a certain idea of how black people's fashion like operates and like, you know, manifests into the mainstream and whatnot else. Another example I can give is like Victoria's Secret, when they were trying to include their brand of like more like, you know, body inclusive sizes and stuff like that. Like, you know, they were trying to expand it. And, you know, Victoria's Secret's like, you know, the whole demographic and whole appeal was the fact that it's sexy and mysterious. And what is Victoria's Secret? You know, like it was supposed to give sexy and like out there and like cool and like, again, like an angel, like a non-human figure or whatever, like the pinnacle of beauty. And then they toned down their stuff as soon as they let bigger people or like, you know, like average people like me into the scene and stuff like that. Like, it's like they toned it down, like instead of like the hot pinks and like, you know, the bubblegum pinks and the nice lace and whatever, they started giving us like regular stuff. And I'm like, dude, like there doesn't have to be this trade-off. You can make you can make things for bigger people and make it look cool. Like you don't have to do this trade-off of like, you know, when somebody's plus size, it automatically means they can't have a midriff. You get what I'm trying to say? Like it's that, I feel like it's that same issue with Pokemon, is they think gender neutral has a certain look and it has to be boring and, you know, not cool looking or whatever. And I don't have all the solutions to this and whatnot else. The only big solution I can think of is broadening their horizons. You know, getting back to the Pokemon way. Okay, let's go back to like Let's Go Pikachu. I thought those designs were really good. All right, I thought they were Pokemon-esque. Still remaining still remaining pretty neutral, but still like cool looking, right? Like you want to be there, not this like Scarlet and Violet shit. Not like, stop playing it safe. Stop trying to play it safe, bro. Like that's what I'm trying to say, you know? I feel like we need to get back to our roots and get the drip back. I feel like we need to let's hurry it up. We're running out of time. Where's the rabbit with the clock? Okay, like, come on, bro. It's only time before people notice this. I noticed it. Shit. Like, we're on to you. We're on to you. So it's, again, having that idea of like what, you know, unisex or gender neutral is supposed to be. These companies have their own idea of it, and it's typically not, you know, it involves this trade-off of looking cool or like, you know, being in the Pokemon image, if you get what I'm trying to say. I don't have the solutions to this, but I feel like character customization is also an option. Like, I don't know why they got rid of it in Scarlet and Violet. I feel like that would have fixed a lot of stuff or whatever. Maybe make different models. Maybe not just make it like female and male now. Like, let's include just different models of Pokemon trainers and put them on the cover of the new Pokemon game and stuff like that, right? Like Animal Crossing. Like, Animal Crossing does this. They make different character designs and stuff like that. We still know it's Animal Crossing, and we still, like, you know, I'm pretty sure we can still, if we need to, make those distinctions and whatnot else when it comes to gender. But you also have some neutral options too. Like, you can do that, but I'm sure they don't want to do that and like stray away from their original, you know, like 2-character model and stuff like that. But I feel like that could also be a solution for them. Maybe invite some people who actually got swag and know how to dress, okay? Come on. I feel like the sportswear and the sports gear could look so much better if that's what they were going for, the hiker gear for this wind and wave shit. Like, I feel like it could look so much better and more fit into the Pokemon image if y'all just tried. I feel like ZI was a better attempt, but again, that bomber jacket and that fedora, that's not looking like a cute combo. Who's wearing that shit? Who's wearing that outside? It won't be me. But you get what I'm trying to say. So this was just like a quick little video on how I feel about Pokemon trainer designs. Did you like this video? Did you not? Let me know. Okay, just be nice about it. Okay, I block people. Okay, hopefully y'all get what I was trying to put down with this entire video, and how I feel about it. I really wanted to not jump into this video with like a certain idea and just be like, Pokemon designs suck, and like like be kind of ignorant and not try to understand where they're like coming from and stuff like that. Because I'm not gonna lie to you, when I was first rethinking that point and critiquing it, I was like, I don't think Pokemon's that woke. When are they that woke? And it turns out they're that woke, I guess. Whatever. My fault. It's not like it took you years to add like skin color and stuff like that into X and Y and still need more inclusive tones and whatnot else. But whatever. I guess y'all are woke now. I don't know. I guess you're woke. Like, it's funny. It's funny. So let me know what you think. Do you like the Pokemon trainer designs? If you do, that's cool or whatever. But this is my video. So let me know. Does anybody like it? Does anybody like it? Does anybody not like it? Let me know your thoughts. But with that being said, my name is Cuddle Watts. This has been Why Do Pokemon Trainers Look Like That Now? And I will see you guys in the next one. Oh, and oh shoot, I almost forgot my mantra again. What the heck? Tell somebody you love them today, because tomorrow is not promised to us. And I will see you guys in the next one.